At age 47, I want to talk about 3 lessons that took me too long to learn in life. Had I learned these lessons earlier on, things would have been easier along the way. I'm going to share those with you in this video. Stick around. I will tell you that these 3 understandings have made my life and my relationships a lot better. It really has. There's something in life that we possess that can be one of our biggest enemies, and it's our mouth. I love to spend a lot of time in the book of Proverbs because it helps to make me wiser. And one of the things that's constantly talked about in that book is our mouths. I was in my early 40s, shortly after the loss of my dad, when I finally understood lesson number 1. That is, when to speak and when not to speak. Up until this point in life, no one wasted words more than I did. As you may already know, I'm very passionate about teaching, very passionate about sharing information, and that's why I'm so happy to have a YouTube channel, because people can choose to click on my videos on YouTube. They don't have to listen to me. But when you're a big talker within your community or your circle of friends, you become a loud voice in a small room. And after a while, you go on to discover that the more you speak, the less people value your words. I used to love to talk around people. I used to love to share things, but I learned over time that the more I spoke, the more that I was mocked and resented. When somebody refers to you as a talker, it's not usually said in a positive light. A lot of times it's a dig. But again, there is a time to speak, and the ability to recognize when that time is will bring a lot of respect into your life. The thing we need to get better at is learning to listen. If we get good at listening, we'll get good at knowing when to speak. Before I learned these things, I would talk at get-togethers and stuff just to kill an awkward silence, only for people later on to say, man, that guy's a talker, isn't he? What I thought was doing everybody a favor and killing the awkward silence just led to more disrespect. I'll bet you that the amount of words I say at a social setting or on social media are 50% less now at this stage of my life than it was 10 years ago. Lesson number 1 led to lesson number 2, and that's when to give advice and when not to give advice. No matter how good the advice is, most people are not going to appreciate it or give heed to it if it's unsolicited. Take all of us content creators, for example. Out here, the advice that I'm giving you is unsolicited until you click on it. This is why I give you a whole lot more information than I give my immediate circle. When somebody is seeking advice, that's one thing, but if they're not seeking it, you only become a nuisance when you constantly give it. And you also have to recognize that a lot of people who seem to be seeking your advice are just looking for your attention. And this is evidenced by the way they don't follow your advice. I'm at the point in my life now where I'm not so willing to just throw out pearls of wisdom to people. A lot of times, if you do this too much, they just get trampled upon. If somebody comes to YouTube and tramples on my pearls of wisdom, that's okay, because there's thousands of other people who wanted those pearls, and those people are the ones that's making my channel go forward. On top of it all, we don't need to be throwing out advice all the time as if it's our job to fix everybody, or if we can fix everybody. I've just learned to treat this thing called advice or wisdom as if it is a thing of value, and not be so quick to just throw it at people who are not going to see it that way. Why waste those words so easily? I wished I had learned this earlier on. Lesson number 3 has all to do with the futility of excessive venting. I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk to others or seek professional help if you feel like you need it. I am saying, though, when we vent too much to the people around us, we just make ourselves feel worse. And it puts a lot of burden on our friends and family members who oftentimes feel like they need to fix us. People have a hard time listening to us vent when we become inconsolable or when there's nothing they can do to help us. If we're not careful, we'll get to the point to where these same people don't want to be around us anymore because they're just tired of listening to it. It's not that they don't care about us, but it's just something that seems to remain in our life that we keep talking about that they can't do anything about. And that's not fair to them. Now, here's the deal. As a man, I've got a couple of guys in my life that I'm really close to that I can talk to and they can talk to me. I'm not talking about not having people that you can't sit down and talk to. But we really need to be mindful of how much we vent, because it's not something we want to do all the time, and it's not something we want to be known for. I'll put it to you in simple terms. There are some people, I won't ask them how they're doing. I know that I'm just going to hear about nothing but the pains that they're going through, and a lot of times there's nothing I can do to help them, and even when you try to, they just kick it back at you. They just want to vent. It becomes their identity, and once people's problems become their identity, it's very hard to get them out of that mindset. Venting is just something that can become excessive in our life, and that's because we think it's going to make us feel better, or we feel like we're getting things off of our chest, but it actually starts to become an identity after a while. The game changes when we just start to be thankful and we start doing what we need to do to fix these situations in our life. When we start speaking life, we start following after those words, and then we go on to become an inspiration to other people. Instead of somebody who's venting all the time, we become somebody who's quietly working towards the good in their life. We can't vent our troubles away. My friend, we've reached the end of the video, and I hope this has been an inspiration to you. I'd love to hear some lessons that you learned in your 40s, or maybe even your 50s, or heck, whatever age you are. Thanks for watching. Take care.